Have you ever wondered how to get these cool atmospheric light rays in your shots? Well, it's haze, smoke, fog, whatever you like to call it. You can do this by getting a big, clunky smoke machine and fill up your room. I got one like this in a previous video from Temu, but unfortunately, it didn't last very long. Or you can get something like this. This is the Ulanzi Filmog. It's a portable fog machine and it's more powerful than it looks. And you can achieve looks going from this to this. So today I'm going to show you 5 ways how you can use this in your shots and how it amplifies your filmmaking. This is also not sponsored. I got this as a Christmas present, so there's no hidden agendas in this video. Before I show you how to use this bad boy, let's quickly see what's inside the box because there's a few key accessories that you should know. It comes in a handy little zipped case, which is, always nice to have. And in here, you got the device itself, the little chamber the liquid goes in, a bottle of haze liquid, and also some different attachments to disperse the haze. This is what it looks like using those different attachments. I personally think the coolest one is when it comes to that piece of foam, but what do you think? To set it up, all you gotta do is pour in some of that haze liquid into the chamber, and then you screw that onto the device. Then you click on that top section and put on your attachment, and away you go. And to start spraying, all you gotta do is hold down the red button. Or if you double click it, it automatically sprays for you until it stops. And then there's also 3 different modes you can use. There's mist mode, a dense fog mode, and dry ice mode, which are all basically just different modes of strength, going from a light mist to a heavy fog. But how do we actually use this to make our shots look cooler, more dramatic, and dare I say, cinematic? The first thing that I want to demonstrate is how it allows you to show off light rays that beam from a source of light. I'll set up my Amaran 60XS with the Amaran Spotlight SE to clearly show this in effect. So I put the light in the corner of the room at a high angle looking slightly down. Just make sure you always keep your cables neat and tidy because... I then filled the room with haze and wafted it around to get a more even spread. This is important because you usually don't want to have that fog still whispering around in those bigger chunks. And because this is a spotlight with a more focused beam, we see this. Really cool, dramatic shot. But without all this haze, it only looks like this. Pretty big difference for just one thing. And we can use this exact same lighting setup, but just from a different angle to really show off the light ray patterns. If I place the light as a background light right behind a subject with the fog still active, you get this angelic effect. And without all the haze, it just turns back to this. It's still okay for a silhouetted shot, but the haze really makes it shine. Next, let's see how we can achieve more depth in this shot simply by just adding haze. For this scene, I wanted a good pop of color to really bring out the color of my drums, so I went with a classic teal and orange look for the lighting. I set up my Amaran 200D with a softbox and a grid to have a subtle key light on the drums. Then I set up an Aperture MC set to a warm 3200 Kelvin in a lamp in the background. And to motivate this light even more, I hid my Amaran 60XS behind the drums to provide a warm backlight looking like it's coming from that lamp. And for a bit of teal color in the scene, I just chucked another Aperture MC on a stand, sort of just backlighting me on the right side. And then finally, I used my new Amaran Ray 120, which is a 120 watt RGB light in this small form factor. I think I'll do a video on this soon because it's a very cool light. Anyways, I set it up with a tiny softbox and splashed some teal light to the background wall. Altogether, it looks like this. But if we simply add some haze into this shot, it turns to this. Again, a pretty huge difference. The warm backlight is creating that huge glow again, which looks awesome against the blue drums. It also just softens the whole image and glues everything together. For this next shot, I decided to keep it very simple so we can see the comparison with the haze. I decided to whip out my motorized slider. This one is from Newer. I got it quite a few years ago now, but it still does the job. I set up a simple dolly out movement, and then I started lighting. I lit this using an Aperture MC light boomed over my head at 3200 Kelvin, and my Amaran 60XS with a blue gel sitting on the balcony pointing through my door. Not looking too bad. With a limited space in this room, it's quite hard to light this angle and corner, but when I add some haze everywhere, it turns to this. It blooms the whole image and gives a more faded look. This is personal preference which shot you prefer. Maybe I did a little bit too much haze, but I think I prefer the haze shot more than the other. For this last setup, we could use it as special effects in camera, not just as a visual touch, but as an interactive material. Let's say we're doing a product shoot and we want to replicate a dry ice effect around the product. In this case, we got a drink and we want to make it feel cool and refreshing. So I set up a simple white paper backdrop and an easy 2-light setup and used the long arm and foam attachment with the haze machine. It would have been better to have a different colored backdrop to better see the white fog, but hopefully you can still get the idea. So I think if you want something with some extra texture and movement in a shot, then this fog machine does the job really well. I personally cannot wait to use this more in my upcoming videos and creative projects. It's easy to use, decently affordable at about 100 Aussie dollars, and for a tiny package like this, it provides really good results. I'll leave a link in the description below if you guys do want to check this bad boy out, but otherwise, I'll see you guys later.